The restaurant buzzed with activity. Waiters darted between tables balancing trays of steaming dishes, while customers chatted and laughed. It was a high-end place, the kind where people wore designer suits and sparkling jewelry. Amidst this elegance was Sophia, a 19-year-old waitress with trembling hands. She wasn't supposed to work tonight. Her colleague called in sick, and she had to step in. Sophia's day had already been a disaster. Her landlord gave her an eviction notice that morning, and her mom's hospital bill sat unpaid. Now she was here trying to fake a smile while balancing plates. She couldn't afford to drop anything. Things took a turn when a sleek black Tesla pulled up outside. The crowd whispered. It was him, Jonathan Roumie, the famous actor. He entered wearing his usual calm demeanor, a slight smile on his face. Cameras flashed as people craned their necks to catch a glimpse. Sophia gulped. She had to serve him. Her hands shook as she approached his table, balancing a tray with a fancy drink. Just as she placed it down, her trembling fingers betrayed her. The glass toppled over, spilling all over his suit. The room went silent. Sophia froze, her heart pounding. The nightmare was only beginning. Gasps filled the room as Jonathan looked down at the stains spreading across his expensive jacket. Whispers followed, growing louder, turning into harsh laughter from nearby tables. "Oh my God, did you see that?" one woman sneered. "She just ruined his suit. I bet she's not even trained for this," another man muttered, rolling his eyes. Sophia's cheeks burned as she stammered an apology. "I am so sorry, sir. I didn't mean to." Before she could finish, a suited man at Jonathan's depot, likely his assistant, snapped, "What's wrong with you? Do you know who this is?" Sophia's throat tightened. She wanted to melt into the floor. "I'll clean it up right away," she whispered, reaching for a napkin. "Don't bother," the man scoffed. "You've done enough." Tears pricked Sophia's eyes as she backed away, feeling the weight of every judgmental stare. She could hear the whispers following her as she stumbled toward the kitchen. Clumsy, unprofessional. She'll get fired for sure. She hid behind the door, clutching her apron, trying not to cry. Little did she know Jonathan was watching her retreat, a glint of something unusual in his eyes. As Sophia tried to compose herself in the kitchen, her manager stormed in, red-faced, clutching a towel like it was a weapon. "What was that, Sophia?" he barked. "Do you realize what you've done? You embarrassed the restaurant in front of Jonathan Roumie." "I didn't mean to," she stuttered, her voice breaking. "It was an accident." "An accident?" her manager growled. "That suit probably cost more than your entire paycheck. If he complains, you're done here. Understand?" Sophia nodded, biting her lip to keep from crying. She couldn't lose this job. It was the only thing keeping her afloat. "Now get back out there and fix this," he hissed, pointing toward the dining room. Sophia hesitated, but there was no choice. She stepped back into the sea of judging eyes. Her knees felt weak, but she forced herself to walk to Jonathan's table, clutching a fresh glass of the spilled drink. "I brought you a new one," she said softly, avoiding eye contact. Jonathan looked at her, then the glass, but didn't say a word. The silence was deafening. Then with the faintest smirk, he uttered, "I'll decide if you deserve to stay." Sophia's stomach dropped. What did that mean? For the rest of the evening, Sophia felt Jonathan's eyes on her every step she took, every order she delivered. She could feel his gaze following her, not angry or impatient, but calculating, like he was trying to figure her out. The whispers from other tables didn't stop either. Some people even started recording her on their phones, laughing as she fumbled with trays and tripped over her words. "Look at her," one man sneered. "She's like a deer in headlights. She won't last the night." Another chuckled. Sophia's chest tightened with each insult. She wanted to scream, to run, to disappear, but she couldn't. She needed this job no matter how humiliating it was. At one point, a child from another table spilled his juice, and Sophia rushed over to clean it up. As she crouched to wipe the floor, she heard a man at the table mutter, "See, that's all she's good for." Sophia kept her head down, but tears blurred her vision. Jonathan didn't say anything, but his expression changed. There was a flicker of something, pity, curiosity, that Sophia didn't notice. The night wasn't over yet. By the time the restaurant started to empty, Sophia was barely holding it together. Her hands ached, her feet throbbed, and her heart felt heavy with shame. She hadn't made another mistake, but the damage was done. Everyone had seen her fail. As she cleared plates from a nearby table, a group of men stopped her. One of them smirked and said, "Hey, waitress, why don't you bring us another round and try not to spill it this time?" Laughter erupted from the group. Sophia froze. She wanted to snap back, say something, but she knew it would only make things worse. so she forced a weak smile and nodded. When she returned with their drinks, one of the men accidentally knocked a glass off the tray. It shattered on the floor and they laughed again. Oops, guess clumsiness is contagious. Sophia clenched her fists, fighting back tears. She didn't notice Jonathan watching from his table. He leaned over to his assistant and whispered something, his expression unreadable, as the men continued to mock her. Sophia felt her resolve crumbling. How much more could she take? And then, unexpectedly, Jonathan stood up. The room fell silent as Jonathan walked towards Sophia. The mocking men froze, their smirks fading. Sophia's heart pounded. What was he going to do? Was he about to join in the ridicule? Instead, he bent down and started picking up the shattered glass. Gasps rippled through the restaurant. Jonathan Roumie, the actor, was helping clean up a waitress's mess. I think that's enough, he said, his voice calm but firm. He looked directly at the men who had mocked Sophia. You've had your fun. Now let her do her job in peace. The men exchanged uneasy glances. Their confidence evaporated under Jonathan's gaze. One of them mumbled an apology and quickly turned back to his drink. Sophia stared at Jonathan, stunned. She opened her mouth to thank him, but no words came out. He straightened up, handed her the glass pieces, and said softly, "You're doing fine." It was the first time anyone had said something kind to her all night. Her chest ached with gratitude, but the night wasn't over yet. As Jonathan returned to his table, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was about to happen. Back at his table, Jonathan leaned close to his assistant, speaking in hushed tones. Sophia couldn't hear what he was saying, but she noticed the assistant nodding and typing furiously into his phone. Her mind raced. Was he reporting her? Was this some elaborate setup? The rest of the night passed in a blur. Sophia kept her head down, focusing on her work. She avoided eye contact with anyone, especially Jonathan Roumie, but as the last guest trickled out, she noticed him lingering at his table, watching her again. Finally, he stood and approached the counter where she was stacking plates. Sophia's breath hitched as he stopped in front of her. "You had a rough night," he said, his tone unusually soft. "I can tell." Sophia blinked, unsure how to respond. Was this another test? Before she could reply, Jonathan smiled faintly and said, "I'll see you again soon." With that, he turned and walked out, leaving Sophia more confused than ever. What did he mean? Why would he come back? She didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change in ways she could never imagine. The next morning, Sophia arrived at work to find the restaurant buzzing with gossip. "Did you hear? Jonathan Roumie stood up for Sophia last night," one waitress whispered. "I heard he tipped a fortune," another said. Sophia pushed past them, brushing aside their words. She didn't want to think about last night or Jonathan Roumie. She just wanted to get through her shift without another disaster. But the whispers didn't stop. Customers kept asking for the waitress from last night. Some even pulled out their phones, showing her blurry videos of Jonathan picking up the glass. "You're famous now," her coworker teased. Sophia shook her head. "I just want to do my job." As the day went on, she felt the weight of everyone's eyes on her again. Some people seemed impressed by her celebrity moment, but others still whispered cruel things behind her back. By the time her shift ended, she was emotionally drained. She didn't expect Jonathan to show up again so soon, but as she stepped outside to head home, a sleek black car pulled up in front of her. The window rolled down and Jonathan's assistant leaned out. "Miss Sophia," he said, "Mr. Roumie would like a word." Sophia hesitated, clutching her worn bag. Was this real? Why would Jonathan Roumie want to talk to her again? The assistant stepped out and opened the door. "Please get in," he said. "He won't take much of your time." Sophia was told to say no, but curiosity won. She slid into the car, her heart pounding. Inside, Jonathan sat casually, scrolling on his phone. He looked up and gave her a small smile. "Hi, Sophia," he said. "I wanted to apologize for last night. You didn't deserve that." Sophia blinked, stunned. "You're apologizing to me?" Jonathan nodded. "You were just doing your job. People shouldn't treat others like that." Sophia didn't know what to say. Was this really happening? "I also wanted to offer you something," he continued. "I know life's been rough for you. I can help." Sophia frowned. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." Jonathan's expression softened. "Because I've been there too, struggling, trying to prove myself. Sometimes all it takes is one person to believe in you." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. She didn't know it yet, but this moment would change everything. Jonathan continued, "I can give you a scholarship to study anything you want. Or if you prefer, I can help you start your own business. The choice is yours." Sophia's jaw dropped. This had to be a dream. "Why would you do this for me?" Jonathan smiled faintly. because kindness matters, and because I see potential in you." Tears rolled down Sophia's cheeks as she thought about her mom in the hospital, her unpaid bills, and her dreams she had buried long ago. Was this her chance to turn her life around? "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to decide now," Jonathan said. "Take your time. Think about it." As the car pulled up to her apartment, Sophia stepped out, clutching a business card Jonathan handed her. "Call me when you're ready," he said, before the car drove away. For the first time in a long time, Sophia felt a spark of hope, but she also felt fear. Could she trust this opportunity, or was it too good to be true? Her journey was far from over, and the hardest choices were yet to come. Sophia clutched the business card all night, staring at the bold black letters spelling Jonathan Roumie. She paced her tiny apartment, her mind swirling with questions. Could this be real? Why would one of the most famous actors in the world care about her? Her past taught her to distrust offers that seemed too good to be true. People had lied to her before, employers who promised raises but never delivered, friends who said they'd help but disappeared when things got tough. Was this just another trick? She thought of her mother lying in the hospital, hooked to machines that Sophia couldn't afford to pay for. If Jonathan was serious, this could be the miracle she needed. But the fear of being humiliated again held her back. What if she called and he didn't remember? Or worse, what if it was a cruel prank? Sophia tucked the card into her apron pocket. The next morning, she decided to focus on work. Yet all day, she couldn't shake the memory of Jonathan's kind words. By evening, she made up her mind. She dialed the number with trembling fingers. "Hello, Mr. Roumie, it's Sophia," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "What happened next?" Jonathan's voice sounded warm and genuine. "I was hoping you'd call. How are you doing?" Sophia's breath caught. He remembered her. She stammered. "I'm okay. I wanted to thank you for your offer, but I'm not sure what to do." Jonathan chuckled softly. "That's understandable. Why don't we talk in person? Come by my office tomorrow. We'll figure it out together." Sophia hesitated. She'd never been to a place like his office before, let alone spoken to someone so powerful. "I don't know if You'll be fine," he interrupted, his tone reassuring. "Just be yourself. I'll have someone pick you up." The next morning, a sleek black car arrived outside Sophia's apartment. The driver opened the door for her and she stepped in, her nerves building with every mile. When they reached the towering glass building that was Jonathan Roumie's headquarters, Sophia's stomach flipped. She was escorted to Jonathan's office, where he greeted her with a smile. "Sophia, I'm glad you're here." The conversation started light, but soon Jonathan asked her a surprising question. "What's your dream, Sophia? If nothing was holding you back, what would you do?" Sophia froze, unsure how to answer. She stared at Jonathan, her mind racing. No one had ever asked her about her dreams before. People only cared about what she could do for them, not what she wanted. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely audible. "I've never really thought about it." Jonathan leaned forward, his expression thoughtful. "Then let's start there. What do you enjoy? What makes you happy?" Sophia hesitated. She thought about the books she used to love as a child, the stories that transported her to magical worlds. "I used to love writing," as she said quietly, "but it's been a long time." Jonathan's eyes lit up. "Writing? That's incredible. Why did you stop?" Tears welled in Sophia's eyes. "Life got in the way. I had to focus on surviving, not dreaming." Jonathan nodded, his gaze steady. "That's the problem with the world, Sophia. Too many people are stuck surviving, but you have a spark." Sophia lay awake that night, replaying Jonathan Roumie's words in her mind. He believed in her, but could she believe in herself? She thought about all the times she'd been let down, all the promises that turned into nothing. What if this was the same? But then she thought about her mother. If she could succeed, maybe she could finally afford the care her mom needed. Maybe she could prove to herself and the world that she was more than just a clumsy waitress. The next morning, Sophia called Jonathan's assistant. "I want to try," she said. The assistant's voice was warm. "That's great to hear, Sophia. Mr. Roumie has already made arrangements." Sophia's training began the next day. She was given access to classes, mentors, and resources she'd only dreamed of. It was overwhelming, but for the first time in years, Sophia felt a glimmer of hope. Still, not everyone was supportive at the restaurant. Her coworkers sneered. "Think you're too good for us now?" one of them said. Sophia kept her head down, determined not to let their words break her. She had a chance to change her life, and she wasn't going to waste it. As news of Jonathan Roumie's support for Sophia spread, the backlash began. Social media erupted with opinions. Some people praised Jonathan for his kindness, calling him a hero. Others accused Sophia of exploiting his generosity. "She's probably faking her struggles," one comment read. She doesn't deserve his help, another said. There are people worse off than her. Sophia couldn't stop herself from reading the comments, each one cutting deeper than the last. She tried to focus on her classes and writing exercises, but the negativity weighed on her. At the restaurant, the whispers grew louder. Customers would point at her, some offering fake smiles, others glaring. Her manager even pulled her aside. Maybe you should quit if you're not serious about this job anymore, he said coldly. Sophia felt like she was being pulled in every direction. The pressure was suffocating, but then she received a message from Jonathan. Ignore the noise, it said. Focus on your goals. The rest doesn't matter. His words gave her strength. Sophia resolved to keep going, no matter how hard it got. She wasn't just doing this for herself. She was doing it for her mom and for anyone who'd ever been told they weren't enough. Despite her resolve, the pressure became unbearable. Sophia struggled to keep up with her writing assignments while balancing work and caring for her mom. The weight of everyone's expectations felt like it was crushing her. One night, after a particularly grueling shift, Sophia broke down. She sat in her tiny apartment, surrounded by crumpled pieces of paper, and sobbed. "I can't do this," she whispered. "I'm not good enough." Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a video call from Jonathan. "I had a feeling you might need this," he said, his voice calm and steady. Sophia tried to wipe her tears, but Jonathan shook his head. "Don't hide it. Struggle is part of the process. Do you think I got here without failings?" Sophia stared at him, surprised. "But you're you. Everything you touch turns to gold." Jonathan chuckled. "That's the myth. The reality is I've failed more times than I can count. I never gave up. Neither should you." His words reignited something in Sophia. She picked up her pen and started writing again. Sophia poured her heart into her writing, drawing from her pain and struggles to create something raw and real. Her mentors were impressed, and even Jonathan sent her a message. "You're finding your voice. Keep going." One day she was asked to present her work at a small event. Sophia was terrified. What if she messed up? What if no one liked her story? As she stood in front of the audience, her hands shook, but then she thought of her mom, of Jonathan's faith in her, and of the little girl who once dreamed of being a writer. She took a deep breath and began. By the time she finished, the room was silent. Then one by one, people started clapping. Some even stood up. Sophia felt a surge of emotion. For the first time, she believed in herself. As Sophia's confidence grew, so did her success. Her story was published online, gaining thousands of readers. People from all over the world sent messages thanking her for sharing something so honest and inspiring. But just as things seemed to be falling into place, Sophia received devastating news. Her mom's condition had worsened. The doctor said she needed an expensive procedure, one that Sophia still couldn't afford. Heartbroken, Sophia called Jonathan. "I don't know what to do," she said, tears streaming down her face. Jonathan's response was simple. "We'll fix this." True to his word, Jonathan covered the cost of Sophia's mom's surgery. The operation was a success, and Sophia felt a weight lift off her shoulders. But Jonathan's generosity didn't stop there. He invited Sophia to speak at a Tesla event, sharing her journey with a global audience. As she stood on the stage, Sophia realized how far she'd come. From a nervous waitress to a published writer, she had found her voice and her purpose. Sophia ended her speech with a simple message. Kindness can change lives. It changed mine. The audience erupted into applause, and Sophia spotted Jonathan in the front row, smiling proudly. As she stepped off the stage, Sophia felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. She was no longer defined by her struggles, but by her resilience. If this story inspired you, please like and subscribe to support more uplifting stories like this. Share your thoughts and comments. It takes time and heart to bring these stories to life, and your feedback means the world to us. Let us know how this story touched you. Together, we can spread kindness and hope.